today's class we are going to start subsidiary book, but before understanding that, we have already understood what is the process of accounting, right? Firstly, we identify transactions, right? Then we prepare vouchers. Those are the proof of transaction with which we can verify those transactions, right? That whether a transaction is actual or not. Okay. Now, after identifying transaction and preparing vouchers, the real accounting is done. Okay. Firstly, we do what? We record transactions. Then after recording those transactions, we classify those transactions into different accounts in ledger. Then we summarize and trial balance all the balances of various accounts. Then we prepare financial statement like profit and loss and balance sheets, with the help of which we can get to know the profit or loss and asset and liability of the business, which is the ultimate objective of accounting. Now in these process, the first where actual accounting start is recording of transactions. Where we record transactions, so we record transaction in the books of original entry, right? Now what is the books of original entry? So that you can understand in prospect of organization on the basis of their level or scale of the organization. Like that can be a small business or a business doing at a larger scale, like at a national level, international level, etc. Now it simply means if you have a bigger business, larger scale business, that means there will be more transaction per day, right? But if you are having a small business, there will be very few transactions per day, right? So if you are having a small business, there is no problem. You will record. The first step is where actual accounting start is recording transaction, right? After recording, we classify transaction into ledger. But the first step is recording. So if you are having a small business, there will be few transactions, right? So you will record all those transactions in only one book, and that is known as journal, right? It doesn't matter whether that transaction is related to purchase, sale, cash, credit, capital, everything will be recorded at the same place, that is journal. And from that journal, we classify those transactions on the basis of their similarity in multiple accounts in ledger, like all the purchase nature transaction in purchase account, all the sales transaction in sales account, all the transaction related to cash in cash account and bank account, right? This way with other transaction also. But for the first stage, that is primary stage, we record all the transaction in only one register, that is journal. Okay, no confusion? Okay. So in case of a small business, the books of original entry is journal only. No confusion, na? But in case of a big business, there will be so many transactions. So many transactions of cash, so many transactions of purchase, so many transactions of sale. So a big business, a larger scale business, prepare multiple books of original entry. So we can classify the books of original entry for a large business into three categories actually. Normally, if we classify it will be two categories actually. That will be one where we have some transactions which are very occurring. Like if in your business there are so many transactions of purchase, you will record all the purchase transactions in one book, that is known as purchase book. If you are having so many transactions of sales, so you will prepare a separate book of original entry for sales known as sales book. So there is actually no specific book specified. It depends upon business to business and depending upon the nature of transaction which are occurring more, right? So if in some business, let's suppose cash transaction is more, so they will prepare a separate books of original entry known as cash book. Getting my point now? Now look what had happened. It is classified into actually three categories. First one is cash book, which we are assuming that some business is having so many cash transactions per day, like 100 and 1000. So they are preparing a separate books of original entry, which is cash book, where they will record all the transactions related to cash books. Same way, there can be some transaction like related to purchase or related to sales and they will prepare a separate book if they are having so many transactions of purchase and sales per day, right? So those books can be known as like a separate purchase book for all the purchase transaction, a separate sales book for all the sales transaction, right? No confusion now. So these books are known as subsidiary books, although they are books of original entry also, but we classify them, we explain them as a subsidiary book also. No confusion in this. Now see one thing, in that larger business, in case of a small business there will be very few transactions, but in case of a big business there will be multiple transactions per day, and in those multiple transactions there will be only few transactions which are more. Like if we talk about any retail store in our city like V-Mart etc., they are having in a day so many transactions, but in those so many transactions, I guess 80 to 90% transaction will be only of sales only, right? Actually there are so many transactions, but from those so many transactions there is only one transaction actually which is so more, and that is sales transaction. So they will do what? They will prepare a sales book, they will prepare a cash book also, because there are so many cash transactions, right? But if we talk about purchase, they will not purchase daily, right? They will purchase weekly or monthly, right? So there are not so many transactions per day of purchase, so they will not prepare a separate purchase book. So it depends upon business to business which subsidiary books they want to prepare. Okay? In case of a small business, there are not so many transactions of cash or purchase or sale, so there is no need of preparing a cash book or purchase book or sales book, right? They will record all the transactions in one book, that is journal, right? Now if we talk about big business, for the transactions which are occurring more, they are preparing a separate book, but for those transactions which are not occurring so more, they will do what? They will record all those remaining transactions in journal. Is it clear? Getting the idea now? So in case of a big business, we can say that there are three actually books of original entry. One is cash book, one is other subsidiary books depending upon business to business as per their requirement, and all the remaining transactions in journal. No confusion, no? Okay. Now in case of big business, if we are preparing subsidiary books also, they will say journal, not journal but journal proper. So there is no difference between journal and journal proper, both are the same thing, just they renamed it in case of a big business if they are preparing subsidiary books also. No confusion now? Is it clear now what is subsidiary books, what is journal proper, and what is cash book, and how the process of accounting works, right? Now in case of a small business, after recording everything in journal, they are recording cash transaction in journal, they are recording purchase sales transaction also in journal, but in case of big business, they are on the basis of occurrence of transaction, they are preparing separate book for some transaction, and for the remaining transaction they are recording those in journal. Right? Now after journal, what we do? We classify this transaction, and we classify where? In ledger, where we have opened multiple accounts, like one account for purchase, one account for sales, etc. And they will post transaction in journal, in ledger from journal, right? But in case of a big business, they will also, after recording things in cash book, subsidiary book, and journal proper, they will classify in ledger. But now they will post in ledger from where? From cash book or from purchase book or from journal proper. Getting my point? But normally what happens? There will be no cash account will be maintained, because cash book works as a books of original entry also and as a account also. So if you are preparing a cash book, you will not prepare a separate cash account. But for others, for purchase and sales, we will prepare a separate purchase and sales account. And there is a reason also, sir, why we are not preparing cash account if we are having a cash book, but we are preparing purchase account if we are having a purchase book. So the reason is very simple. Actually, in purchase book and sales book, they record only credit purchase and credit sale. So what about cash purchase and cash sales? So as those are cash transactions, they will record it in cash book. But to know the total purchase, like what is the total cash and total credit purchase, so adding those total to know the total purchase, they prepare a purchase account. Getting the idea now? Okay. So we have understood how to prepare journal. That means we are also clear with journal proper because both are the same thing. No confusion now? We have understood how to prepare cash book also, single, double and triple column, right? Okay. So the topic that we are going to move to understand is subsidiary books. Okay. And after understanding this last subsidiary book like books of original entry, then finally we will move to the second stage of process of accounting, and that is classifying. That means how to prepare ledger. Which subsidiary book we have to prepare and which subsidiary book we don't. That I already told you depends upon business to business. If in your business there is purchase transaction and more, so you will prepare purchase book. But in some other business, if there is not so many purchase transaction per day, they will not prepare purchase book. Even if their business is a big business, because there are not so many purchase transactions. So if they are having only few transactions related to purchase, they will record those few transactions in journal or journal proper, but not in a separate book like purchase. No confusion. No? So what are the books that we are going to study then? Because we are not doing business, so how we can decide which book we should study and which we should not? So that is prescribed by our course. We have to study actually 4 books, that is how to prepare purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return. And last one is journal proper, which we actually already knowing. Only name has been changed from journal to journal proper. Okay, so we'll study all those things one by one, how to prepare purchase book, sales book, purchase return and sales return. So see one thing, how we can prepare purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return book. Process for preparing all these 4 books is same actually. There is no difference in the format and no difference of writing the transaction in those books. If you have understood one book like how to prepare purchase book, that means you are already knowing how to prepare sales book and purchase return and sales return. Right? The only difference is related to one single column, which is actually of no use for us. Okay, so before understanding what is that one single different column in all these books, firstly let's understand any one book, which is, let's start from purchase. So the format of purchase book something look like this. So the first column is related to date, where we will write the date of purchase transaction. Okay. Second column is related to particular, where we will write the information related to the purchase. Next column is invoice number, which is also known as the bill number, the proof of transaction, the voucher number. Okay, but it will not be given to us in the question, but if somehow it is given, so we have to simply write that invoice number and nothing else. Okay, if it is not given, still we have to prepare the format, right? Next column is LF, which is laser folio number, where we will write the page number of laser book of purchase account. This column is also no use for us because there is a practical implication of LF and invoice number. If you are preparing a purchase account also, then you have to quote the page number of that purchase account of laser book here. That this particular transaction is posted in ledger on this page number. So practically this is also of no use for us, right? So these are just a mere column and we don't need to write anything in that. Okay, so these 2 are of no use. So we have date, particular, then details, where we will make our calculation like this was the list price minus this much was the trade discount, so this is the net value, where we will write the details of the transaction, right? And finally it is the amount column, where we will write the total amount. Any confusion related to format? Now only difference in purchase book, sales book, purchase return and sales return is this invoice number column. In purchase book, this column is known as invoice number. In sales book also this is known as invoice number. But in purchase return book and sales return book, this column is replaced by debit note number and credit note number. Now what is debit note number and credit note number? We will discuss that later after understanding how to prepare purchase book, right? But actually, whether it doesn't matter, it is invoice number column, debit note number column, credit note number column. Actually, that is of no use for us. We just need to write that for the format purpose only. No confusion? Now let's see how we can prepare purchase book. Purchase book, it is very important to know what are the things which will be recorded in a purchase book. In purchase book, we will record purchase, but that purchase should be only credit purchase. Means if you are purchasing by paying cash, that you will not record here. If in any question we have a cash purchase is given, we will ignore that particular transaction. No confusion? And one more thing, you have already understood while understanding basic accounting terms, you have understood the meaning of word purchase. In normal terms, if we talk, purchase means buying anything. But in accounting, in commerce, whenever we use word purchase, that means purchase of goods only. Right? If you are purchasing anything other than goods, you will not say that is our purchase. Like if you are purchasing any asset, that will not be recorded here even if you are purchasing that asset on credit basis. Is it clear now? So in purchase book, we record only credit purchase and that credit purchase of goods only. If you are purchasing a furniture, if you are purchasing a building, if you are purchasing any other asset, it doesn't matter that is cash or credit, you will not record that here. Right? That is the basic thing that you need to remember for preparing purchase book. Same way you can understand sales book also. Format is same for sales book. The way of writing transaction in sales book is similar to purchase book also. The only thing that you need to remember in case of sales book, you will record what? Credit sales of goods only. Right? Cash sales will not be recorded. No confusion. And same is with purchase return and sales return. Normally it is assumed that we return only those purchases which was on credit. Right? So in purchase return book, we will record purchase return of goods only. Same way in sales return, we will record sales return of goods. No confusion now. Now you are knowing what are the things which will be recorded in these 4 books. So let's understand how we can write the transaction in these books. Because if you understood how to write transaction in purchase book, you have already understood sales and other books also. Okay. So let's try to understand how we can prepare purchase book, how we can write transaction with the help of any one question. And one more thing, in this chapter, actually this format is actually a kind of incomplete. There is other columns as well, like column for GST, CGST, SGST, IGST, etc. That I have not prepared because for this year only, those GST part has been removed from our syllabus. So if in any question the point related to goods and services tax is given, you will consider that transaction, but you will ignore the point related to GST. Right? It simply means we will record all the transaction ignoring GST. Any confusion? The implication of GST from all the chapter, in any chapter, if the concept of GST is applied, that is removed from our syllabus, so that we will not study. Okay? So record all the transaction ignoring GST. Now see one thing. The way of recording transaction is very simple. You guys are knowing what is list price? What is list price? MRP of the product. Whatever the price you see the printed on the product, that MRP, the price which is printed on every product, that is known as MRP, no doubt. But in a language of a businessman, we say that MRP as list price. Know what is list price? Now tell me, if you are a businessman, you will purchase goods at list price. If you purchase, then what will be the profit, right? So we purchase goods at a price lower than list price or MRP. Okay. So the amount which we deduct from that list price is known as trade discount. And trade discount will not be recorded in the books. So all we have to do is we will firstly write the list price, then we will do what? Minus trade discount. We have to deduct that trade discount, and the final value we have to write in the amount column. Any confusion? Is it clear? Now how we can write transaction? That is very simple. Firstly, in particular column, we will write the name of the party from whom we are purchasing goods. Firstly, name of the party, then the description of goods, that we have purchased this particular item, this much quantity at this rate, so the total price is this much. Then we further purchase this quantity at this price, so value is this much, then total value is this much, minus trade discount, and the net value is this. Any confusion? Clear now? But while recording transaction, just focus on only cash transaction, no credit transaction, and credit of only goods. No confusion? Okay. So let's see question number 1. Then question number 1, it is given, prepare a purchase books in the books of Messrs Modern Furniture House of Lucknow. It is given the name of the business for whom we are preparing purchase book is Modern Furniture House. Means they are dealing in furniture. So goods will be furniture, right? So if they will purchase anything other than furniture, that is not goods, and that will not be recorded here. Okay. So the name of the business will help you to determine what are the things which is actually goods for them, and we will record only goods, right? Okay. So they are dealing in furniture, so we will record only furniture transaction, and that is only of credit. Okay. So the first transaction is on 5th of June 2017. So 5th of June, so we will write in the date column 5th of June. Here we can write only one time, then that will work for all other transactions. Now it is given, bought from Mohan Lal and Company, Kanpur, UP. So we are buying, bought from Mohan Lal and Company. So no doubt that is purchase. Okay. And it is not given that we are purchasing on cash or on credit. So it is not given that you are purchasing for cash or on credit, and if the name of the party is given, that will always be assumed as a credit transaction, right? But if name is also missing, then that is a cash transaction. If party name is given, see one thing. If it is given in the question that is a cash transaction or credit transaction, like purchase for cash or purchase on credit, like on cash or on credit, what is given, then there is no confusion to finding whether that transaction is a cash or a credit transaction. Problem is when the cash or credit word is not given. In that case, it is easy to find whether that transaction is a cash transaction or credit transaction, and that solely depend upon the name of the party. If the name of the person is given from whom you are purchasing, then that will be assumed as a credit transaction. But if the name of the party is missing, that means that is a cash transaction. No confusion? Okay. So this particular transaction is what? A credit transaction, and that is a purchase of goods. So we will record here, right? Name of the party is Mohan Lal and Company, Kanpur. So first we will write the name of the party as Mohan Lal and Company. You can write Kanpur also. Now we have to write the description of the goods. So it is given we are purchasing 20 Godrej chairs at 2,000 each. So we will write here what? Description. 20 Godrej chairs at the rate what? 2,000, right? So write what? 2,000 rupees each, right? So this will be how much? 40,000. No confusion now. So we have written that information in details. Then we have given what? 5 Godrej tables also at the rate of 6,000 each. So we will write what? 5 Godrej chairs or tables at the rate what? 6,000 each. Prepare the column accordingly so that you don't go to another column, right? Okay. Now this month, this will be how much? 30,000. Now there is any other purchase related to this particular person? No, right? So, and there is one more information is given, and that is trade discount at 20%, right? So before deducting trade discount, firstly let's total the amount of purchase. So this is 70,000. But we have to deduct trade discount, so we'll write what? Minus trade discount. And you can do what? You can write here the percentage also, so that is 5%, right? 20%. So we will write here minus 20% trade discount. Now we will do what? We will calculate 20% of this list price. Okay, so 20% of 70,000 will be 14,000. So we have deducted that 14, and we will, after deducting, we will get a value of 56. Any confusion? This is the actual price, and this will write in the amount column also here. Okay, this is just for calculation, details column, and LF and invoice number is of no use, but still you have to prepare the formula. This is done now. Now we can move to the second transaction. Second transaction is purchase from Bharat Bhushan and Sons. Tell me whether that transaction is a cash transaction or credit transaction. That is a credit transaction, and that is purchase also. And they purchased what? Almirah and revolving chairs. So that is also a kind of furniture. That means that is goods. So we will record that here, right? Okay. Name of the party is Bharat Bhushan and Sons. We purchased on 10th of June, so we will write here 10th of June, right? And we will write the name of the party. Okay, so name of the party is Bharat Bhushan and Sons. Now we have to write the description of purchase. So we have purchased what? Firstly we have purchased 5 almirahs. So we write what? 5 almirahs at the rate what? 12,000 each. So this will be how much? 60,000. Okay, right. And what we else purchase? So we purchased 2 revolving chairs also. So write what? 2 revolving chairs. And rate is what? 20,000 each. So this will be 40,000. Now there is no other purchase, but it is given trade discount. This time is 10%. One more thing, if trade discount is not given for a particular person's purchase, you will assume that there is no trade discount. And you will write the exact amount. Okay, right. So first we will total this. So this will be 1 lakh rupees. Then we will do what? Minus trade discount, which is 10%. So 10% trade discount. And this will be how much? 10,000, right? And this will be 90,000. And this is the amount we'll write in the actual amount column. This amount column will tell you your credit purchase at net price, which you have to pay to that person in future. The next transaction is purchase from Surya Traders Lucknow, and that is also a credit transaction. So we will write what? Purchase Surya Traders, so Surya Traders. And the description of goods is what we are purchasing. 80 desk. So write what? 80 desk at the rate what? 2,500 each. So how much that will be? 2 lakh. Then we have purchased something else, that is 10 sofa set at 20,000 each. So 10 sofa set at the rate of 20,000 each. This will be 2 lakh. So we have trade discount is given as 15%. So first we will total this, and this will be 4 lakh. Okay, then we will write what? Minus 15% trade discount, and that 15% will be 60,000. And after deducting 60, we will get a value of 340, which we will write in the main column of amount, 3,40,000. So let's move to the next transaction. Next transaction says purchase for cash from Gopi Chand, Haldiram, Delhi. Will record this transaction? No. So it is given and highlighted also that we are purchasing for cash. That means if we are purchasing for cash, that is a cash purchase, we will not record that here. Any confusion why we are not recording? Okay. Now let's move to the next transaction. Next is bought furniture for office use from New Furniture House, Faridabad on credit. We are purchasing furniture, that is goods, and we are purchasing on credit also. So we should record or not? Why no? Then what it means if we are purchasing for office use means? Very good. It is given that of course we are purchasing furniture. And as we are dealing in furniture means we are selling furniture, so furniture is no doubt goods. But it is given that we are purchasing furniture this time to keep in our office. So that is a kind of tangible asset you are purchasing. And asset, if you purchase asset, that is not a purchase of goods. So that will not be recorded, right? So we are done with all the transaction. Okay, now at the end all you have to do is you have to just total the column of amount and you need to find the total purchase amount. That's it, and your question is done. Okay, this way you can filter the transaction, which transaction you have to record and which you don't. Okay, remember only one thing, you have to record the transaction related to goods, and that should be only on credit. Same way you can prepare sales book also. Format is similar. You need to firstly write the name of the part, description of goods minus trade discount, that's it. But that should be only credit sale and credit sale of goods only. No confusion, na? And same way we can prepare purchase return and sales return also. The only difference is the column name will be changed to debit note number and credit note number, and actually we don't need to write anything in that columns. And the way of writing is same. You have to firstly write the name of the party, then what is the description of goods minus trade discount which you are returning in case of purchase return. In case of sales return, you will write the name of the party, then description of goods minus trade discount, and then the amount will be the goods returned by anyone to you, because you sold and now they are returning to you, that is sales return. Okay. So this way you can prepare purchase book, sales book, purchase return and sales return, and there is no other thing to explain in this particular chapter. But let me ask you one thing. We have ignored two transactions, right? One was cash, other was purchase of asset. Where we will record those transactions, whether we will record or not? We will record, of course, but where we will record? Cash transaction we can record in cash book if we are preparing a cash book, right? But if we are not preparing them, in journal proper. And what about purchase of asset? That is also in journal proper, because we are not preparing a book for purchasing assets. No confusion, na? So all the transactions which you ignored, you can record that transaction in journal proper. So this chapter is finished.